Om Sahna Vavatu Sahno Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shrutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavadpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakritav Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Samasta Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Hari Om, salutations to all, and Shubh Hanuman Jayanti. Hanumanji was on the flag of Bhagwan and Arjun's chariot, and he also heard the whole Gita. So, we are on the 16th chapter and we have seen the divine qualities, Daivi Sampad we saw in the first 3 verses, and at the end of the 3rd verse, Bhagavan said, Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata. So, Abhijatasya meaning these are the qualities of a person, marks of a person who is endowed with these divine qualities. So sometimes it is said Abhijata. Jata means to be born. Abhijata indicates from birth they have divine qualities. Now obviously from birth they have divine qualities means it is not that some partiality is there, that some people are born with some divine qualities and some are born with demonic qualities. It is past karma, they have put in the past effort, and of course grace of Bhagavan is there on everybody, and each one has to choose to live in a dharmic way. Then these divine qualities also are there, and when they are there, then one lives in a dharmic way. So, and suppose one has, because of past karmas, some nature which is demonic, let us say, or some qualities which are demonic. All of us are a mixture of divine and demonic. We have to work hard to subdue the demonic and to increase the divine. Purpose of the Shastra, purpose of the Vedas, including Gita, Upanishads, everything is Guna Adhan and Dosha Panayanam. Samskaras also that we go through is meant for that. When we say Chitta Shuddhi, purity of mind, it means this. Guna Adhan. Dha means to place. Adhan, to place very well, firmly. Meaning the mind must be firmly anchored in the good values, in dharma. And Dosha Apanayanam. Ni, Nayati means to take. Apanayanam means to remove. So the purpose of dharma is only that. So when we say Abhijata, one should not think, Swami, I am not Abhijata, divine qualities are not there in me from birth. I am born like this only. What to do now? I can't change. No, Purushartha one has. So Abhijata only is indicating that okay, some past karma you have done nicely, so you are continuing that and the divine qualities are continuing. And if somebody has more negative tendencies, more demonic traits, it doesn't prevent them from surrendering to Bhagavan, turning a new leaf and starting. Every minute we have that choice. See, Yuyutsu, he made that choice or not? When the call was given that whoever wants to leave from the Kaurava side or the Pandava side and cross over, just before the war began, the Yuyutsu, he came from Kaurava side to Pandava side. Why? He decided, he said, "Nahi, till now I have been supporting them, they are doing wrong things, adharmic things, I will not now anymore support," and he shifted. So that choice is there at any point in time, that one can change. So one should not think that Abhijata means, okay, now he is destined, he is born like this only. Many people say, leaders are born, they are not created. There will be, when we were studying in commerce, the two schools of thought. Leadership skills are born, somebody is an inborn leader, or leadership skills can be cultivated. Same way here is about values. One is born with divine values or one can cultivate. See, Gita is saying you have to be born with divine values. And how will you be born with divine values? Until you have cultivated in the past life. Purushartha has to be done, then that yesterday's Purushartha is today's Prarabdha. So one should not give this as an excuse. My point is only that. Many people give this as an excuse, saying, I am not blessed, Swamiji. What to do? I am unfortunate. I am cursed. I am a victim. These nice qualities run far away from me. What to do? My fate is only like that. Don't give all that excuse. No matter what has happened, today you can change. From this moment one can change. How many examples are there? Ratnakar transforming into Valmiki, Angulimal transforming. So many examples. Kalidas, he was such a dumb fool. Cutting the branch on which he was sitting, became such a great poet. So transformation can anytime happen. How much one wants to do, it is up to oneself. Now, when he has said this, that Bhavan, third verse, when he says that Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata, further Bhagavan goes on to just enlist, like how he has listed the divine qualities. He is just going to enlist some of the asuric temperaments here, and then again he will come back to elaborate those. So the fourth one, Dambho Darpo Bhimanascha Krodha Parushyameva Ajnanam Chabhijatasya Partha Sampadam Asurim. So Bhagavan says, what are these Asuri? Partha, O Partha. What are these Sampada which are Asuris? Sampadas which are Asuri. Partha Sampadam Asuri. So he starts, Dambha. What is Dambha? It is hypocrisy. Dambha. Different ways of hypocrisy. One way of hypocrisy is to show off what one is not having. All false projection. One is not very wealthy but making a show of, I am so wealthy. Hiring things, wearing it and showing, I am so wealthy, I am so rich. Just giving a mundane example. Like that, Dambha. It can be show of wealth, it can be show of power, it can be show of knowledge. Many people sound very knowledgeable, although they have read many things. But they would have memorized some 10 things, they will keep quoting. A show. Some people just because they think that if they speak something in Sanskrit, then it will have some validation. It is not even written like that in the scripture, but one goes on. And people who are ignorant, some of them around them, they think, oh, wow, he knows so much. What people do so much today on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on so many social medias, this goes on where people just without verifying say anything just to show, and just some clickbait title also will be there and content also will be there, and dambha is just simply showing off as the one has known. There is no scriptural backing, there is no authenticity to it, simply saying anything. So dambha is hypocrisy. That is one way of hypocrisy. Another way of hypocrisy is knowing what is right and still doing the wrong and pretending that it is the right thing. Dambha. This Duryodhana and all of them are examples of dambha only. The kingdom doesn't even belong to them fully. The Dhritarashtra divided it, given half only to the Pandavas. Now that also they took away, and then showing off as though they have great power and that they will not give it. Arrogance also is there, dambha and abhimana all go together. But false show of power, trying to show I am more powerful than you. Bhim and Duryodhan. So Duryodhan always competes against Bhim. Or in the world one sees, in comparing with somebody, now they have gone for foreign tour for their vacation, I will also go. Arey, but you don't have enough funds. No, I will take credit and I will go. Just to show. So dambha is that just to fit in or just to show, just to create one image about oneself, where one is not truthful to who one is, what one is. There is nothing wrong in trying to extend one's circle of influence, or put in some more efforts to extend the standard of living. That is not a problem. But here it is a false show. It is not having any, there is no anchoring inside. So this is one aspect, and this can be in subtle things also, not only for money, power, position. It can be about virtues. One may show off as one is very dharmic, or sometimes one is very religious and does lots of rituals, but doesn't live dharma at all. So corrupt in the thinking and in exploiting people, not having compassion, trying to dominate, control, destroy. But I'm very religious. Everybody, they want to show that person thinks one has created. Everybody thinks, oh, what a great person. Dambha. So dambha is in the divine qualities. Bhagavan started with abhayam sattva samshuddhi. Here he starts with dambha, arrogance, hypocrisy. So then darpaha. What is darpa? Darpa is pride of possession. Dambha is I don't even have it, but I am making a show of it. Darpa here is I have. I am flaunting it and I am making people feel lesser. So it can be any of these: riches, property, family lineage, dynasty, rank, position. Very proud. Pride one can call it. Dambha, darpa. Then abhimana, ego. Ego, where one judges I am superior to somebody because of any of these same things. It can be power, position, family, lineage, country, knowledge, virtues, anything where one feels some exclusivity. Ego always wants exclusivity, speciality, praise, hype, glorification. Seeker goes away from ego means seeker goes away from all these. Because this is a trap. and one gets addicted to all that, and that then one will end up in dambha after that. So seeker says, I am like everybody, I am one with all, I see the same self in all, and I am serving Bhagavan who is present in the hearts of all. That is how seeker goes away from ego. The person who has ego keeps getting trapped in one's own shell of ego. One expects people to praise, appreciate, applaud. Some people want flatterers also. This dambha is that category, where they would not have done anything, but their flatterers will praise them, and this fellow also will think that yes, I am great. This fellow may have done something wrong also, but the flatterers won't have the guts to tell him or her, and keep flattering. And this person also keeps going to the seventh heaven as though. Ground reality is something else only. He didn't even do anything. In all fields there are such people, including in spiritual fields. One will find people who the knowledge, sadhana, effort, study is very less, but how much glorification for nothing. Karma eventually catches up, but the point is what? That this abhimana, dambha, these are all qualities. Why are they called demonic? Because they lead us to adharma. Bhagavan will say further that they lead us more and more into bondage. They make us more trapped in cycle of birth and death. Dambha, darpa, abhimana, ego. Now, one may have abhimana of even one's spiritual sadhanas as well as sometimes even the siddhis. Great spiritual powers one gets, abhimana. That I can do these miracles, or I have this power, I can read minds of people. So abhimana can come for anything. It can come even for divine qualities. Oh, I am so divine, I am so humble. And Gurudev used to say humility is a strange thing. The moment you think you have it, you have lost it. So dambha, abhimana, darpa, if one wants to segregate, then one can say that this darpa can be about things that one possesses, external things. Pride, about money, body, standard of living, the power one has, the chair on which one is sitting, the position, contacts, popularity. Darpa is about all that, pride of all that. Abhimana is for internal values, qualities. One feels I am different from others, I am greater than others, and sometimes one can feel the opposite also. I am very low, I am victimizing oneself. When everything is also there in with oneself, still sometimes one victimizes. Sufficient is there, still one is victimizing. So abhimana can be either way, superiority or inferiority, where one thinks that look at all of them, their life is so much better, look at my life, I am nowhere, I am nobody, useless fellow I am. And one keeps pulling oneself down. That is low self-esteem, low self-confidence, continuously doing negative self-talk. So abhimana can be either ways. So if at all one wants to segregate, then segregate like that, saying abhimana is for internal, the mindset, dambha, darpa is the external position, etc. that one has. It's more than dambha, it is darpa, which is like that, pride of external. If at all one wants to separate, otherwise they all are very closely connected. Dambha, darpa, abhimana, krodha, anger. See, in today's world we justify all these. If we look around also, we see many examples of these. But Bhagavan will say ahead that how these bind. Krodha. In fact, in this chapter only Bhagavan will say ahead that Krodha is one of the sure gates to hell. If you want, 3 gates are there. You are most welcome to try any of the 3 or all of the 3 and verify whether what is said in the Shastra is true. Kama, Krodhas, Tatha, Lobha. Trividham Narakasyedam Dwaram Nashanam Atmanah. These are 3 gates that will destroy you. They are gates to hell. What are these 3? Kama, Krodhas, Tatha, Lobha. Kama, selfishness or lust. Krodha, anger, and Lobha, greed. And today's world one justifies all the 3. Again, we should not think in terms of extremes. Nobody is saying that anger should never come in life. There is a righteous anger where anger is needed to be used as a discipline to make amends, to correct, to let people understand that this behavior is not acceptable or this thing should have been done in this way, why this was not done. That is a different thing. And there also it is when required that anger has to be used. Otherwise there are other means to communicate, explain. But Bhagavan calls Krodha very clearly as Asuri Sampada. Which type of Krodha? The Krodha which is born out of ego, selfishness, a certain deep sense craving. I want to enjoy something and I have not been able to go and enjoy, and I am very angry. I don't want to do my duty. That type of Krodha, Bhagavan says, is Asuri. And here he says, Ram Sukdas ji has given very nicely one thing. He says, excitement or burning sensation caused in the mind in order to do wrong to others is Krodha. Because in Krodha, that is what will happen when one is so upset, agitated. He makes a distinction between Krodha and Kshobha. So what is the distinction between Krodha and Kshobha? So he says Kshobha is the agitation or commotion and Krodha is the anger. So if a child does some mischief, to discipline the child, if the parent is scolding the child, that is Kshobha. There is some agitation, but the anger is a show of anger. That Kshobha is required. But what is Krodha? When this person takes it very personally, my child is not listening to me and behaving in this way, I will show it, and gives one. Where that intent is not to just discipline and benefit of that child. The intent is, I am hurt now. How can my child behave like this? What will people talk of my child? And what will they think of me? That what have I taught my child? It has all gone into taking it personally, feeling hurt, angry, upset, and one behaves violently. Verbally abusing, physically abusing, all that can happen. That is Krodha. Otherwise, remember, Bhagavan also has got upset, Bhagavan also has got angry at certain times when it is required. Our Shastra doesn't say that anger one should never have at all. Where it is necessary, one has to use. Shivji opened his third eye, burnt Kamdev. Shishupal, 100 insults he hurled at Bhagavan Krishna, and he waited patiently because he had given that promise to his mother, to Shishupal's mother. I will tolerate 100. After that, he will have to die. So he waited for 100, and the moment 100 are over, killed him. So the point is, as a need when it is required, there one is using anger as a tool. But one is not taking it personally, and making justifications then for wrong behavior. someone said very nicely that anger is a cry for help actually. That the person is not able to handle the situation. Mind has got very disturbed. And it is expressing in the form of agitation, anger, some uncontrolled speech, sometimes violent actions. It is actually a cry for help. While people in the world may sometimes think that anger is show of power and somebody is very powerful can get angry and people around that person are so, scared of this person. Arey, this person will get angry. Arey, inko gussa mat dilao. Do whatever they are saying. One form of control also is their anger. So in the world that goes on, where the mind has to understand ki how much am I a victim of my own emotions, and it's a cry for help actually. Very few people actually use anger as a tool. Most of the time one is disturbed only inside. And that is manifesting through the eyes, through the words, through the actions, through everything. So he says that is Asuri. And one nice analogy he has given here is that just like fire resides in the wood, in a dormant way there is fire in the wood, and the moment little bit of fire from outside, a spark or anything is ignited, then this fire which is dormant in the wood will again manifest and it will burn the wood very fast. Same way, situation outside is like a spark. Deep inside us there is so much of anger. Now that spark, that situation is only triggering it. Then, and nowadays people use the word trigger. So be aware of what are your triggers. It could be any behavior, it could be certain words, it could be hunger, it could be, some pressure I am going through in some other aspect of my life, but it is affecting my, suppose I have pressure at family. Some dispute is there in my family with somebody I have fought. Now I am coming to work. Now subconsciously that is affecting. So I behave badly in my workplace. So that is because of that I am not aware and I am not able to let go and separate out, and it is influencing. So I should be aware what are my triggers. There could be people, there could be language, there could be physical challenges, some pain, some discomfort, some emotional hurt, anything. Suddenly one gets triggered. So he says here, just like that fire wood has that fire in it, in a dormant way. The Asuri Sampada is like that, where this lot of anger is pent up, sometimes anger, or it is impulsive anger. Because the person is very selfish, the greater the selfishness and attachment, greater will be the anger. Gita is very clear. Beautiful expression of the Gita is Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. Raga or attachment is the cause of Bhaya and Krodha. If somebody has cultivated detachment, then to that extent that person will be fearless as well as peaceful. The greater the attachment, greater will be the Bhaya and Krodha, fear and anger. So, fear of what? Fear of losing what one has, and anger is when I don't get what I want. Both are born of attachment only. That anger is what is called here as Asuri. Because attachment inevitably leads to doing adharma or some compromise. Then one falls. That is Asuri. So here he says Dambha, Darpa, Abhimanaha, then Krodha, then Parushyam, harshness. No, earlier was said in Devi Sampada, Mridu, Mardavam, gentleness, softness, a certain finesse, polished behavior. Here, very rude, very harsh. Again, It could be applicable at body level, where one is harsh with the body language, walking in a harsh way, not allowing people to walk with oneself, or doing such behavior that people get put off, they don't want to come anywhere near you. It can be harsh looks. One look one gave, people get scared sometimes. If one wants to do that for disciplining, again I am saying that's a different thing, but sometimes people have behavior, their behavior only is like that, very harsh. Because inside there is not enough self-love. Inside one is not happy and it manifests outside. And sometimes one is stuck in one's own shell. So one is not being loving, kind, compassionate, and so people don't come. When people don't come, this person feels more and more lonely and becomes more and more bitter. Okay, nobody loves me, nobody cares for me. And when somebody comes, they express in such a way that those who have come also will run away. Now it's a vicious cycle. So he says Parushyam is again a demonic quality. Harshness. At some point when one is not secure enough, one thinks controlling others, shouting at them, even sometimes people they treat even the things with such harshness. They won't be gentle with those things because inside they have some frustration which is eating them up, and it has manifested in some harsh behavior. So harshness in the body language, harshness is there in the looks, harshness is there in the speech. What can be said in a simple way or loving way or even polite way or assertive way, this person says it so rudely, such tone, such curt language. Sometimes people use also all kinds of abusive words. So harshness of speech, and they just want to hit out at the opposite person in the name of being frank. Just tell anything. So harshness of speech, harshness even at the heart level where one is not even moved, forget not moved by the compassion of others. Sometimes one is taking pleasure in exploiting others, being rude, hurting people, not helping them when you can, and when there is a need that they have, nothing. Create more trouble in their life. That is all Asuri. That's why if you see all these Asuras are living like that. Mahasamri Devatas also have, wherever Abhimana comes there is a fall, whether it's Devata or Asura. That Puranas show very clearly. So here he says Parushyam, and sometimes one wants to take revenge, vengeance, and one is plotting the downfall of the other person. All that is Parushyam. And the seed of all this is what? Selfishness. Kama only is the seed of all this. So, Krodha, Parushyam, Evacha. Ajnanam. Ajnanam here is ignorance. Ignorance at all levels. At the simple level, what should be done, what should not be done, karyam and akaryam, kartavya, what is my kartavya, what is not my duty, not my kartavya, why should I do, that clarity one doesn't have. One does not do what one should be doing, and one goes on engaging in what one should not be doing. So, ignorance at the action level, doesn't know what is right, what is wrong, what should be done, what should not be done. One doesn't know what is dharma, adharma, what is merit, what is sin. And one is living, and sometimes one knows also, but one is not wanting to live by the higher values and wantedly is compromising. All that is ignorance, and the consequence of ignorance does prohibited karmas. So he says here that one thinks of temporary pleasure and takes immediate gratification choices. Even though sometimes one knows here this will hurt me, harm me in the long run, but not able to push the mind. Sometimes one doesn't know only, thinking of right as wrong and wrong as right, that is delusion. That delusion is born of ignorance only, moha. So, avidya here is that, and because of that one is following wrong path, which is appearing right as though to this person. Ajnana, ignorance of dharma, adharma, punya, papa, satyam, asatyam, right, wrong, and then come to spiritual level, atma and anatma one doesn't know. One doesn't know atma and anatma as the deepest cause of all our suffering, ignorance. Now what does Bhagavan say? Abhijatasya partha sampadam asurim. So somebody may be endowed with these demonic qualities when one is born. Again I am saying, it is not to blame. क्या करे स्वामी जी, भगवान ने हमको ऐसा ही बनाया और ऐसे ही भेज दिया. Now we are like this. I have such a harsh way to speak. I am not able to control what to do. No, you have to control, learn. That is Purushartha. For that I should be convinced that is not a good way to live, harshness. See how one speaks, whatever is the vocal cord, vocal tone, I mean the pitch and all that what comes out, that is a different thing. But harshness is this parushyam is a certain emotion that is behind that. The intent, the lack of self-love, the security is not there inside. So one is being very rude, harsh. So one has to change. That is the effort that is to be put. So one can't say abhijatasya, so I am abhijata, I am like this only. Each one has a combination of this divine and demonic. So now when he says here that abhijatasya ajnanam cha abhijatasya partha sampadam asurim. So with asurim here we should not think of only asura yoni. The sampada asuri means these are qualities which may pull us down from human level to the level of asuras. What is the meaning of asura? Asuhu means prana shakti. Asushu ramate iti asuraha. One who only is the main purpose of that person's life is eat, drink and be merry. Doesn't matter what morality and what righteousness and what is satyam, what is dharma, all that is, leave it. In fact, the more you try to live the divine, you will have trouble and you may not be prosperous, you may not be comfortable, you may not have enough money, your future may not be secure, you may be not able to enjoy so much as somebody else, but one who has money can do all this. So one should not follow this divine quality so much. In fact, one should strategically make connections, do networking, meet people, give them what they need, please them, flatter them, bribe them, do corruption, get your way, and enjoy a great life. So one may think like that. And hence, those people for whom this is important, this type of material thinking, enjoyment alone, at the cost of dharma, there is nothing wrong in pursuing prosperity or even enjoying life. This we have seen earlier also. In the Gita, earlier only Bhagavan said that dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshapha. I am that kama which is not against dharma. So Bhagavan doesn't say don't enjoy. Upanishad doesn't say don't earn wealth. But earn in a dharmic way. Where dharma is important, where sharanagati of Bhagavan is there, where my ego and my karta bhav reduces, then that is the best way to utilize one's karma. Otherwise one will be bound. So asura literally means that person. It's not only the description of somebody who is lower, who has fallen from the human level. This is more for anybody who is having these qualities. So, and specifically for humans, why this is being said? Because we have a choice. So, ajnanam chabijatasya partha sampadam asurim. So, the asuri sampada, they have been just enumerated here little bit. Now, Bhagavan says in the fifth one, Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata mashucha sampadam daivim abhijatosi pandava. So now what is the purpose of the values? Everybody says follow good values, follow good values. Why should I follow values? Swamiji, people around me are not following. Why should I only follow? I will also not follow. Because this is Kali Yuga, finally, we are very strange. When we don't want to follow something, we will just say, this is all okay, Swamiji, in the other yugas, but we are in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, this is not possible, Or one will ask very cheekily, in Kali Yuga, I think it is only name of Bhagavan which we can take and everything else will be taken care of. Why should we follow all this, So we can do whatever we need to do, but just take Naam of Bhagavan. Why? Because that is Kali Yuga. And we are in Kali Yuga. So one uses this as an excuse saying, अब Kali Yuga में तो ये नहीं हो पाएगा. In the same Kali Yuga, there have been so many Mahatmas who are living like this, with clarity about Dharma and anchored in it. And they are not only sadhu sannyasis, they are grahasthis also, and so many examples are given of that in our scriptures. So what is the purpose of following the higher values? So Bhagavan says very nicely, Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya. Whoever has divine qualities is an adhikari for supreme liberation, Vimoksha. Discovering which one doesn't have to any time come back in the world of birth and death, transitory world, freed. And only then one will even realize that this world itself was not created, is one big projection of our own mind. So, Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya, the divine qualities will help this person to liberate oneself. For purity of mind, this is required. Please again remember, Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya. This is a means towards mukti. Values are not goal. Values are to purify the mind. Good values, when we say Daivi Sampad, when we say, that is to purify the mind, reduce the ego, and help us to see oneness all around. All the qualities which were given, they will thin down the ego, and finally through contemplation, through seva bhav, through sharanagati to Bhagavan, one will drop and one will realize, Arey, I am infinite consciousness, I am what I am searching on. So it becomes a means. Values are a means, like how we saw in the earlier classes also, that Nandi is the Vahana of Bhagavan Shiva. Nandi is a bull, and bull represents Dharma. So Dharma is the Vahan, is the means. What is the goal? The goal is Paramananda. Shivji is pure bliss, Paramananda. Who will realize this Paramananda? Whose mind is like Nandi? Who is alert, who is pure, who is ready to serve, who sees oneness, who lives in the attitude of Karma Yoga as well as Seva. So, Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya. And this Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya, it is not only Mukti at the highest level, which of course is the meaning, but it is also Mukti at simple level, at mind level. When one does something wrong, like all this ego, arrogance, In that one will commit wrong, one will exploit others, one will cheat, loot, plunder, do anything. The heart is not light. A person is not feeling, peace, satisfaction. One can sleep happily. But a person who has done righteously, lived one's life, yes, sometimes there is some sacrifice to be made for it, or there's some discomfort for it, but one says, I sleep peacefully. I can look in the mirror and feel no guilt, no regret. If I look into the eyes of my Guru, I don't feel ashamed. Why? Because I have lived values. In Mandukya Upanishad class on Saturday morning, we were discussing last week. So the mantra in Ishavasya Upanishad is where that seeker is praying that, I have lived a very righteous life. Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye, O Bhagwan Pusha, O Bhagwan Surya. Remove this veil. Why am I not able to realize the truth? I have lived in a righteous way. Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye. There is a veil which is there. Tattvam Pushan Apavrano. That you please remove. Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Pihitam Mukham. Tattvam Pushan Apavrano Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye. That confidence one gets. I have lived value-based life. See, every seeker will have some or the other fall, but the point is to learn the lessons and rise and walk the path, having transformed and saying, this I will not do again. By whatever compulsion I did it, now I will not. Then move. So the mind will get liberated of so many negative thinking and how it weighs down, pulls down. One of the reasons is because we would have done something, compromise, some wrong somewhere. One who has lived in a righteous way, lived within one's own means, lived in a way where one is able to balance family time, work time, all that, then that person has such a light conscience. That's why he says, Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya. It will free the mind. And only such a mind which is free at the empirical level can be steady in contemplating on the absolute. If my mind is burdened, I am not feeling good about myself, or I am feeling very arrogant, all these qualities which are given, Dambha, Darpa, Abhimana, and at the drop of a hat I can become angry and fire people left and right. Then Bhagavan says those are to bind. Nibandha Yasuri Mata. Bandha is to bind. Nibandha in this context. Don't say Nibandha means essay Swamiji. So bad values will lead you to writing an essay. No. And by writing an essay you can't get out of bad karma that you did. How ridiculous was that one case where that person in the car has, wrong driving and hit and did one accident and hurt people also, and then he was told write an essay. Repenting, you write an essay. If you write an essay, it doesn't solve. Here that Nibandha doesn't mean essay. Nibandha here means very well bound. Nibandhaya Suri Mata. That one has to understand this. Many times we don't, this line we should remember and tell ourselves. This is the purpose of living values for ourselves only. It is our evolution. Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Asuri Mata. Wise people have said this. It is their mata. What? The Asuri Sampada will bind very, very strongly. Nibandhaya Asuri Mata. Bind me to what? Bind me to adharma. Bind me to lack of self-mastery. So impulsively one will speak anything, do anything, say anything, think anything. No control one will have. And in the name of I am free bird, I am this, I am that, I am my life, my rules, one will do anything. But one is bound actually. Nibandhaya Asuri Mata. Right now sometimes our behavior may be ulta. Asuri Sampada we are glorifying, Daivi Sampada we are underplaying. And one says it's okay, let it be, even if some compromise has happened, so what, everybody is doing it, nothing wrong in it. Split personality will happen, weakness will happen, mind willpower will go, plus temptation. To live in a dharmic way requires hard work and keep the mind anchored. To take a shortcut very easy, compromise very easy, be selfish very easy. So, Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Asuri Mata. This one should remind oneself again and again. This divine qualities are to help me to liberate my mind, drop its inhibitions, drop its negativity. Then only potential of the mind also will manifest. See, that is another point to know. Daivi Sampada will also manifest the individual's power and potential. Asuri Sampada will pull the person down and destroy. It's very interesting, that people who so-called asuras and rakshasas also, many times when they do tapasya etc., they are in Daivi Sampada. They are living in tapasya, they are living in integrity, they are pleasing Bhagwan, they are chanting the mantra, they are, doing such terrific types of penance, being very patient also, and single pointedness. All those qualities are there. Those are all divine qualities. Now they did all that for a long time, then they got darshan of Bhagavan also, and then they asked a boon. Most of the time that boon will be to become immortal. But they can't become immortal. Nobody can become immortal with the body. So then some ways one will find to see how death can't come to me. But meanwhile what will happen? Many of them will they will abuse the power that they have got, and they will fall, and they will make others also fall. But why? Because Asuri Sampada took over their Daivi Sampada. At that time when they were doing tapasya, they were in Daivi Sampad. Don't we see even in spiritual life so many times the seeker falls and one wonders, अरे ये तो यहाँ तक पहुँचे थे, अब ये तो कैसे ऐसे हो गया? हाँ, so हो गया. Because Asuri Sampada took over and one didn't have enough and one didn't do enough, fell. So one should be very alert. Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya. The more divine qualities we manifest, we cultivate, the more the potential in us will manifest. And the more negative qualities we entertain, in the mind we justify, in the action, behavior, speech we keep expressing, it will lead to fall. There is no doubt. This is the law of nature. Now whether one accepts it or not. Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Asuri Mata. Even if you say, no, Swamiji, this is applicable in this Dwapar Yug, Treta Yug and Satyug. In Kali Yuga, it's exactly ulta. Daivi Sampad Nibandhaya, one can say, and Vimokshaya Asuri Mata. This is the new twist for the Kali Yuga. Swamiji, naya twist hai. What? Daivi Sampad Nibandhaya, Vimokshaya Asuri Mata. Fitting also in meter, you can chant it also. No, this is eternal law. It will apply in Satyuga also, it will apply in Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga and all the yugas. Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Asuri Mata. Full stop. And the point to understand here is also this, that I am the one who has to go through the karma phala of all this. There is nobody else with me. The moment one understands that, this is, I only have to deal with it. Nobody is with me. In my internal experience, I have to go through it. When the karma phala comes, if I am the karta, I only have to be the bhokta. Why get into Asuri Sampada then? No, I want to try. And in the world it will be like this only. That is delusion, maya. That the bad is so-called hyped up a lot. So even as teenagers, somebody who is a good person, who is a value-based person, somebody who is a studious person, studying well, doing nice co-curricular programs, activities, developing holistically, nerd hai, bookworm hai. Some fellow who is bunking, who is doing drugs, who is drinking, who is doing all kinds of abusive behavior. That is delusion. Don't fall for all that. Life doesn't go on like that. There will be all that which people will do, and then they face the music also. Consequences come sooner or later. Who will stop? At that time one wonders why this happened to me. Because some karma you did. Or kya? So Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Asuri Mata, that we should drill into our heads and convince our mind, saying follow the path of the divine. No matter what has happened till yesterday, surrender it to Bhagwan, say I am sorry, accept it, move on, khatam baat. Shifted to the new path. And when that past karma will catch up, one will go through it in dignity, saying ki I must have done something, let it pass on. Through suffering, through some difficult time, that will get exhausted. And again the dharmic ones will start giving results. So, Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Asuri Mata is a general statement Bhagavan made. Now he says, Ma Shucha Sampadam Daivim Abhijatosi Pandava. O Pandava means Arjun here. Ma Shuchaha, don't grieve. Why? Because you are endowed with divine qualities. Sampadam Daivim Abhijatosi. Meaning you are born with divine qualities. If you think you don't have divine qualities and you are pulling yourself down and thinking of yourself as weak, don't do it. You already have divine qualities. Pandavas are like that. The word Pandu literally means white, Dhawala. So here it is symbolic of purity. Pandu means pure. Those who are pure minded, they are Pandavas, 5 of them. And how many are those? 100. But these 5 will be more powerful than those 100 because they are anchored in dharma. And again I am saying, when a person is anchored in dharma, doesn't mean that the person will never make any mistake or will not fall. But one is not falling because of karma, one is falling because of some other attachment. It may be to knowledge, it may be to some other thing. By karma I mean lust and selfishness. They fall because of attachment to other things. Yudhishthir also made a blunder. Again he went second time to play. Who told him to go to play a second time? But he went because he attached to dharma. So one can, even as a seeker walking the dharmic path, one can make some mistake because of error in judgment, because of some attachment. That doesn't make that person asuri. But sometimes one feels, so this Arjun was feeling, I will be a sinner. I am going to kill my own people. And what are everybody going to say? What is everybody going to say? Ki look at him. What a selfish fellow. He is enjoying the pleasure stained by the blood of his own relatives. And how can I kill Bhishma, Drona? They are so reverential. I can't even think of talking harshly or rudely to them in my dream. And now I have to kill them. So Arjun's self-esteem is low, that we saw. Bhagavan says, don't worry, you are born with divine qualities. This Ma Shucha Sampadam Daivim Abhijatosi. Bhagavan reassures him. Ram Sukdas ji has brought out this very nicely here, saying that this word Ma Shuchaha has come twice in the Gita. One, it is here, where he is assuring Arjun, Bhagavan is assuring Arjun, saying that don't grieve, you are born with divine qualities. They have made some mistakes, Pandavas, but they are not adharmic people. So Bhagavan is with them, and they lived uncompromisingly. Easily they could have come back, breaking the condition, and come and attack them and snatch the kingdom. They could have done, but they chose to follow dharma. 12 years of exile, 13 years of incognito, they chose. And what all difficulties they went through in that. But they are anchored in Bhagavan. They are surrendered to Bhagavan. They went through it all. So, this is where he says, you don't worry, you are born divine. Ma Shucha Sampadam Daivim. So don't grieve. This is the first time where he is using Ma Shucha in this Gita as an expression Ma Shucha. And then he says second time in 18th chapter that why should you not grieve, because I will liberate you from all sins. Whatever, if you have done any of these mistakes, sincerely walking the path of dharma, suppose you have made some mistakes, he says, I will free you. Aham tva sarva papebhya mokshami. Sarva papebhya. Not a license to do papa. But while walking the path of dharma, if I have fallen, then Bhagavan says, don't worry, I will lift you. Again, whatever karma will come, but the tendencies, etc., which make that person commit it again, Bhagavan will help to remove all that. Prayaschitta, Bhagavan will make that person do. So, 2 times it comes. That's why he says, Ma Shuchaha comes 2 times. And here he has said very nicely that another meaning of this 2 times is this, that Bhagavan wants to assure him that he should not worry either about the means or the end. Dharma, these values, Daivi Sampad, they are the means. And what is the end? Mukti. So when he says that Aham tva sarva papebhya moksha ishyami, that moksha is the goal. This dharma is the means to moksha. He says, don't worry, you are endowed with dharma and you will attain moksha. Don't grieve, my assurance is there, you will attain. Such a nice thing, na? And 3 words are used by Bhagavan to address Arjun. What are those 3 words? In this earlier one, third one, he used the word Bharata. Bha means light. So when he said Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata, Ma Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata, of the one who is endowed with the divine qualities. So he calls him as Bharata. Bharata means light, effulgence, brilliance, knowledge. Then in the 4th one he calls him Partha. He is the son of Pritha. And Partha also means one who chose the divine, chose Bhagavan over his Akshavini Sena. And here he uses Pandava, means pure. So different meanings are there of the 3 names of Arjun in the 3 verses here. Very contextual. Vedavyasji always uses the appropriate name for the verse which is the idea which he is communicating. So for today we will stop here and thank all the Yajmans, the Mukhya Yajmans, the Yajmans for the entire series of the Arati, then the Dainik Yajman and the Dainik Arati Yajman. May Bhagavan's grace help us to live with the bhav that Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Asuri Mata. And may we be anchored in the divine values. Om Tat Sat. We will do the Arati, and if there are any questions, we will take it up after that.
ओम जय भगवत गीते मैया जय भगवत गीते हरिया कमल विहारिणी सुंदर सुनीते ओम जय भगवत गीते कर्म सुमर्म प्रकाशिनी तत्व ज्ञान विकाशिनी भवभयहारिणि तारिणि परमानन्दप्रदा ॐ जय भगवती ते आसुरभावविनाशिनि नाशिनि तमरजनि दैवी सद्गुणदायिनि हरिरसिका सजनी ॐ जय भगवती ते समता त्याग सिखावनी हरिमुख की बानी सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी श्रुतियों की रानी ॐ जय भगवती ते दया सुधा बरसावनी मातु कृपा की जय हरि पद प्रेम दान कर अपनों कर लीजय ॐ जय भगवती ते ॐ जय भगवती ते मैया जय भगवती ते हरिया कमल विहारिणि सुंदर सुपुनीते ॐ जय भगवती ते ॐ जय भगवती ते ॐ जय भगवती ते बोलिए गीता मैया की जय
बोलिए श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. Okay, so before we go to the Q&A, I have a very important announcement to make. Many of you know that today is Hanuman Jayanti, and so Hanumanji is Amsha of Shivji also, and I have written a book on 108 names of Bhagavan Shiva. There were talks on it, and they are there on my channel also, Chidmay Shivam. Those have been transcribed, edited, and we have reworked on them. And this is a beautiful book which has come out today. We released. It is called Be Shiva. It is a 600-page nice book. Each name of Bhagavan Shiva has beautiful descriptions, stories, wonderful quotations from various scriptures. Many myths of Bhagavan Shiva are destroyed, and we also have various sadhanas. So this was to be released earlier, but finally it has come because there were a few challenges in printing. So I thank everyone who has pre-ordered it and waited patiently for it to come. The books are couriered today, so in some you already would have got today. In another 2-3 days, everybody else will also get it. All the couriering has happened from our side of those who have ordered it. Those who have not ordered, please you can order. I will be putting up the link in the bio. I'm a link in the WhatsApp group. Please order, and now books are ready. You will get it very soon. Thank you. I have 5 minutes exactly because the next meeting is at 8:30. So I will take up the call, these things very quickly. If you have questions, yes, Karan. Not able to hear you.
Yes, Swamiji, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Swamiji, I had a clarification to make on the quality of ahimsa. You had mentioned that one line that you had mentioned was that it is a greater sin, or it is as great a sin to not kill somebody who deserves to be killed. That would be an act of ahimsa as well. Is that right?
No. So if I kill somebody who is not, if I don't kill somebody who is deserving to be killed, if it's a part of my duty, then that is also himsa.
Yes, sorry, himsa. That is himsa, sorry.
That is himsa. Like sparing the Kauravas, if Arjuna is saying, I will spare the Kauravas, that is himsa, it's not ahimsa.
Yeah, so on that, I just had a clarification to make. So Krishna Bhagavan had said that this is your duty, but earlier on, he had gone to Hastinapur as a Shanti Dut. And he had also, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is wrong, he'd asked for 5 villages in exchange for the Pandavas, and he said that if you give us this, that we will settle for peace. So how does this then, I mean, fit into this understanding of ahimsa?
Because see, the transformation process is important. If that person comes back to dharma, then the purpose is solved. The person was acting in adharma, and so if that person has acted so much in adharma and all the means of transformation of that person are exhausted and the person doesn't want to transform, then fighting and destroying is the only method, then the kshatriya will have to do that as a duty. One can't take that as a stand right in the beginning saying ki I will just destroy them. No,
Okay.
because the karma will continue then until that person doesn't transform. So one has to put that effort first to help, to give opportunities to change, to transform, to walk the path of dharma, and come to certain understanding. Okay, if not half kingdom, at least give this much, because so many lives are at stake. 40 lakh people died in that war.
Yes.
You see, so those methods have to be done first. Kshatriyas doesn't mean anyway they will go. Nyaya is the first duty of a Kshatriya. In pursuit of Nyaya, it has to be win-win for all. That's the duty of a Kshatriya. If that doesn't happen, then inevitable is war, then only.
And this means even forgiving them for their past sins if they accepted the offer.
At individual level, yes, one can. If those things have happened to them as individuals, then it's up to them. Pandavas can forgive, which they were ready to. That's what they did.
Okay, okay, thank you so much.
Hari Om. So Lata ji and Lajja ji, I will take up the question in the next class. You may note down because next meeting has to start in 2 minutes. So I will have to end this and then start the next one. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.